You know, this time of year it's very exciting because one, we often get foods that we don't often see, and we often avoid throughout the year because it's a special occasion. Secondly, we find ourselves in a lot of challenges, time constraints, correct? Time to find time to exercise. We're going to 3 or 4 different events the same day. Everybody's got food at all these events. You know, then we're expected to bring food as well. So how do we plan for all this and how do we get through it? So we put together a handout and I tried to put down as many helpful ideas I could think of, and I'm open to any other suggestions that you may have all done throughout your challenges that you've done through your holiday seasons. And then at the end, I'll take, we'll do some questions and answers throughout this as well, but at the end, if you think of anything that would help us and help any others individuals, that would be great too, okay? So we're gonna go through kind of like just some general suggestions, and if you wanna build on those, you can. But starting with, when going to an event, one of the questions that always comes up is, are they gonna have things that I can eat there? So what would be one of the best things you could do in that situation? Bring your own dish, so it's something that you know that you can tolerate, something that you know is going to meet your guidelines, and something that you know that you will be able to enjoy. So that's one thing, and sometimes it might just have to do with where you are in your program. We have some patients that go when they're fresh out of the surgery, so they're basically on a puree, so what could they take with them? Maybe somebody who's further out, and maybe they have a recipe they can share with somebody, so that's always something too. And I think it can be really challenging because a lot of our patients also don't share with other people that they've had the surgery. So that kind of takes some of the stress off. If you take something and then you eat what you know you brought, you don't have to answer to anybody as far as, why aren't you eating my stuff? Why aren't you eating? So that kind of takes away some of that pressure as well. So the other one is have support. Even though there are times we do keep it confidential, if you can have one friend or a husband or a wife or somebody that you can trust or confide in that, hey, I've had this surgery and you're going to see that I'm not going to be eating a lot of the same food or I'll be eating smaller amounts. If I get kind of stressed out, can I come talk to you? I've had patients actually do that where they can confide in at least one person that they trust and that they feel like if they need to have somebody to say, hey, come on with me, I see you've been to the table 3 or 4 times, it kind of reminds them to go back. So it kind of be that kind of support too. So you want to make sure that, if possible, take support with you. I think that can be really helpful in that regard. Oftentimes, what do they have at these parties? A favorite punch drink, right? Did you get the handout? Mm-hmm. Okay.
I don't do holidays, so it's not have that thing.
Oh, okay. So what do you go to any parties? If you go to any parties, it could apply to that too, right? If you go to any events or family dinners or anything?
I haven't been to the hospice, I'm very seldom going there.
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully that you can get benefit from some of this. You can let us know, okay? Give me suggestions, okay? So a lot of times they have these punches that are filled with what? Ice cream?
Oh, yeah.
Lots of sugar.
How about vodka?
Rainbow sugar.
Okay. Sangrias and all those are very high, and eggnog, you said eggnog. Yeah, eggnog, there you go. Very high calorie, fun holiday drinks, correct? Very easy to fill up on a lot of calories, a lot of carbs, and, you know, kind of overdo it that way. I'm not going to tell you not to have fun with that, but I really would encourage you to portion control it to the best of your ability, and just be careful. Because the other thing too, throughout the event, you don't want to feel deprived, right? It's about making memories with your friends and family. Do you agree with that? So the more that you can engage with that and feel like you're a part of it, and find a way to enjoy what they're enjoying, but do it in portion control, I think that is probably the best advice I can give you.
I will say this, in recent years when we don't usually have punch just for family, but if we're hosting a party or a shower or something, diet ginger ale and either diet or light cran raspberry makes a really good punch, and there's not terrible amount of calories in it. If somebody has to make a punch.
Well, that goes back to a very good idea, which when we talked about bringing your own dish, that's one thing you could also contribute, is taking a lower calorie fluid with you that you can share with other people as well. You might be surprised how many people would actually benefit from having somebody bring something that would also take some stress off of them as far as calories and keeping their intake under control. So you might be surprised how many people would really enjoy that. You might make somebody smile that night. This is really important. How many times have you guys gone to a party, you fasted all day because you know that you were going to eat a lot more that night? Well, guess what? That doesn't work. Because what happens?
I know it's not good.
Because now what happens is you've gone hungry and we're gonna wanna eat more of those foods that are gonna be there. They're probably not the best choices to make, right? So to the best of your ability, try to eat a normal pattern up to that meal, up to the time that you go to the event. Because if you don't go hungry, you're more likely to be more satisfied on a normal sized portion versus going and having 2 or 3 or 4 servings because you're so hungry. So I think another thing too is being surgical patients, even though you might feel hungry, you may not be able to eat enough to really sustain and then feel kind of weak and really not feel real good at the party. So I think the more that you can maintain your normal routine up to the party, I think you're going to probably be more satisfied from that standpoint. Number 5, I kind of struggle with. I think there's a couple ways you can look at this where it says no seconds. I kind of struggle with that because I think there may be times where maybe you took a smaller plate because you know you want to go back up there, or if you have kept this confidential, you don't want people to think that you're not eating. So you can kind of use your own judgment about what your situation is. Sometimes a second might be appropriate, but again, you may just take a smaller portion on your first one. So just keep that into consideration. I'm not sure that it has to be an absolute no seconds. Does that make sense to everybody on that? Okay. And then again, there you go. Be aware of the liquid calories. That goes back to the eggnog. Those are always there, and they always have alcohol in them, right? And they'll kick you in the butt. So you have to be really careful. And we probably should include alcohol drinking during this seminar or this workshop too, but I'll get to you guys. The other thing too, sometimes I think we can feel really overwhelmed when we feel like we've got to prepare for people coming to our house. Maybe we feel like we have to prepare and take things too, so because our schedule becomes a little bit overwhelming. And then sometimes if you are somebody who eats under stress, or we tend to maybe start to find ourselves grazing on things that we're preparing, so we kind of lose sight of those. Go out and walk. If you have a dog, take them for a walk. If you need to, you live in an apartment, just go up and down your sidewalk for a few minutes, just to get out and take a deep breath and get away from the TV for a minute and just stretch your legs and get some fresh air. Because I think what happens is it kind of resets the mindset. It takes you away from the immediate moment. So that way, just keep yourself focused to the best of your ability in that regard. Does that make sense that way? Hi. There's handouts up there.
Okay.
Got enough room there?
Sorry.
There's 3 handouts up there. Help yourself to those. So I think anytime that you can get yourself out, we've gotten down to the part where we're talking about getting out and walking a little bit during the holiday season when you get a little bit stressed out, just to kind of get some fresh air, kind of reset your mindset so that you don't feel quite so overwhelmed, which can happen when you're preparing for holidays or a lot of people are coming over. I think sometimes when you think about the food that you have to prepare, you got to clean your house, you got to take care of the kids, you got to run around to the grocery store, you got to do all these different things, and all of a sudden you feel completely overwhelmed. You sit down from the TV, what do you want to do when you sit in front of the TV? Go to sleep for chips, cookies, ice cream, all these things that we think about. Yes, yeah, that things don't think about, right? Yeah, that's what we do. All right. Do all of those so far make sense to everybody? Anybody have any questions on that?
Yep.
Everybody agree with those? Okay. Now, I think this
Sorry.
next one,
We're in the wrong meeting.
oh, are you?
Yeah. What are you doing? Nutrition?
Yeah?
Sorry.
We thought you were just maybe friends with the family.
Really, I would thought for sure you were post-surgery.
Oh, is that good?
Yep.
My mom you guys having the sleep done?
Yeah.
Oh, my mom had it done. She loves it. My mom and my dad. So love it.
Well, you can
Goodbye.
stay and listen, you might be able to help
Thank you.
them. I thought they were friends with the family.
Me too. I bought one of those education and the other two were sports.
Well, there
But
you
I
go.
figured she was post if it was.
Well, that was fun.
But when she came back to cheer, I thought she was part of the state, so I didn't know.
Yeah, I just thought she was, well, okay. We welcome people, you can come off the street too, so that's fine. All right, so
Sure.
this next one is really important. And we actually encourage this throughout the year through your program, and that's, eat off small plates when you can. And a lot of times one of the challenges you might have with this is that many of us do go to parties where there's a sit-down dinner, and they have they use their china once a year, so it's these big plates, and then plus they have the bread plate, plus they have the dessert plate, so that can be kind of overwhelming. I think anytime that you can, though, use a small plate, I think it's very beneficial. I know it's not always, able to do, but I think when you can put it on a small plate, carry it with you. Like if you're walking around talking to people, always keep something in your hand. I think you're more likely than to not go up and get seconds and get another plate. I think when you know what your portions are and you carry it with you and you know at the end of your tour through your friends and family, that's gone, you've had your serving.
Here's something interesting. On my everyday china, and then I got fine china about 15 years ago. Those plates are fairly big,
Mm-hmm.
but in an online estate sale auction, I bought a second set, an
Yeah.
entire set of fine china
Yeah.
from the 1950s for under $50.
Wow.
And the dinner plate looks like a luncheon plate.
Wow, really?
The 50s dinner plate is only about 9 inches.
So what does that tell you about our culture today?
Exactly, that's what I wanted to bring up, because I'm a
Yeah.
child of the 50s.
Wow.
And, for it to be so dramatically smaller, the dinner size plate, all the plates are smaller. So I've been eating off of that china,
Yeah.
like pre and post surgery,
Well, there you go. Good.
because
But
it's,
see that, I think it just, and plus I think from a mindset, if your plate looks full, you tend to feel full. But if you put that small amount on the big plate, you play that mind game. It's like, that's not enough food, Or somebody might go up to you and say, you need to get more food, and then you feel the pressure to put more on there. So I think it just kind of eliminates a couple issues that could come up in that regard. And the other thing, this is so important, focus on friends and family, right? One of the things that oftentimes that I recommend to patients is that they come in and say they can't wait till the holidays, they're gonna go and they're gonna get that pumpkin pie for the first time of the year, and they're gonna go get the casserole that they don't have all year, and they're gonna go get this, and that's what they look forward to. You know what my answer is to that? The last I checked, there's a Kroger at every corner. And if you want to, in March, make that casserole, my gosh, make the casserole. Make it less important than being with the friends and family that you get together with once a year. To me, that's really where the relationships come from and where the enjoyment comes from, is you're making, relationships and you're making memories with your friends and family. To me, that's because what you do is you make the food less important. Not to say you can't enjoy what's there, but I think it takes away the importance, because sometimes we have, well, it's the only time of year I get this. So if you can get that mindset of, I can have it anytime I want. I can go to Kroger's, I can get the recipe, and I can make this anytime I want. Does that make sense? Yeah. So focus on the friends and family. Focus on the memories with them, and play games, play card games, do things like that to take your mind off of it. They're challenging times because that's what the holidays are. You go in, there's big buffets, and they've got all these different plates set out that people brought, and then you have to find a way that how you're going to do this. And that's where the mental challenges come in.
Well, see, what I do, there's one pie that we used to have in school, I have never liked, but I do know how to make it better than anybody else. So I'll always take that.
Well, there you go. There you go.
Everybody go put some chest pie.
Oh, what's it called?
Chest
I
pie.
Yeah.
love chess
Yeah,
pie.
it's delicious.
I'd be the one that would want the
Like
chess
that.
pie.
It's delicious. You can send, send the recipe to us. Yeah, we would be happy to look at that.
But that's not a low calorie.
That's okay. See,
Okay.
But see, I don't eat it, so it doesn't bother me.
See, you said you don't care for it, correct?
No, I've never had, that's when I.
So that's why you make it, so you're not tempted, huh?
and this is what, you see the number 10 on here, what does it say? Have a taste. So remember, one of the key points to being successful long-term is not feeling deprived. And if that piece of pumpkin pie or chest pie is sitting there and all night long, you're looking at it going, gosh, I really want to have a bite of that, I really want to have a bite of it. And at the end of the night, you don't have it, you leave there going, I really wish I'd had a bite. What do you think? Would it really have been damaging to have a bite? That's right. So it's okay to taste. You just don't want to sit and, have 3 or 4 pieces of it. So do all those so far, do they make sense? Does anybody have any other suggestions from the standpoint of going to a party or going to an event that you can think of as a helpful tool to other patients? Anybody have any ideas? What?
Usually when this recipe follows sugar.
Oh, just give it to us. Okay, so the other part is basically getting prepared, having a plan. So the other parts were all just suggestions on when you're attending a party or what to do in the event of you're going to have the party. What are you going to do now? So you want to plan ahead. You want to have some type of, it starts here with take inventory and identify what situations might be difficult during the holiday season, like the office party, food courts, at the shopping mall. What do they do there? You go shopping during the holidays? Yeah. They always have those kiosks now where you can get all those special cookies and popcorn and all that smells so good as you're going through. Yeah, triggers. This is the other thing too. How many of you do any type of cookie exchanges at work? Do you guys ever do that? Any type of bake exchanges? Yeah. No? You don't participate? Okay.
It's too much time.
One of the things, we did do that in the past, we haven't done it in the last couple of years, but what we did is we did it to take to parties. So it wasn't so much that all the boys ate it as we would actually make them and take them to other parties to give away. So that was kind of fun. And in the process of making the cookies, at least at my house, what a lot of us did is we actually had tasters. So we weren't the one tasting them. So yeah, so have somebody else taste the calories for you. So, and we had a lot of volunteers that wanted to do that. So plan a system of attack. One, bring low-calorie appetizers like we talked about. If you're going to go to an office party, take the low-calorie appetizers that you know that you can tolerate and you know are going to help you stay within your goal. And foods that you enjoy, so there's nothing you can eat. Don't go shopping on an empty stomach.
Oh, I'm guilty of that.
How many of us do that? Leave work and go straight to the grocery store. Anybody ever do that?
I'm always going.
Yeah, he's over there. Yep. And what happens when we do that?
I just,
I pick it up myself.
yeah, that I should be. It's not on my list. It looks good. Put it in there. At least that was pre-surgery what I did.
That's right. There you go. And it's still easy to do that, I think, because you can have mental hunger too. I think when you're more physically content by having something to eat or a snack before you go, you're also more mentally hungry, or mentally content. So I think that's important too. That's one of the benefits of not going hungry. This is the other thing too, use healthier substitutions and make a low-calorie, low-fat dessert for the family gathering. And that kind of goes back to bring something that you know that you can enjoy. There's a lot of websites you can go to. I know a lot of patients have sensitivity to like Splenda and NutraSweet and different things, but there are some natural sugars. And remember, and I say this cautiously, but remember that basically what we're looking for to keep low is our carbohydrates. It's always okay to have a little bit higher of a fat dessert. I'd rather you go a little bit higher fat versus higher sugar. So, it's easier to find recipes that are, low in carb and higher in fat versus the ones that are low carb, low fat. Kind of keep that in mind. Does that make sense?
So my taste is still so off, right?
Just asking for inputs.
Any artificial
This one
sweetener,
else, this one else for you.
but yeah,
You can write it.
I am kind of craving a sweetener. And what would you recommend?
Well, there's some different ones out there. I mean, it really just depends on what you're sensitive. I mean, some people are more sensitive because of the aftertaste. So stevia is a natural product. If you're more concerned about the non-natural products,
Okay.
which I kind of struggle with because I'm not really sure that they're not natural, but that's not the whole thing. Stevia is a natural sweetener that comes from a plant. Okay. The what's the agave, yeah. There's that one as well. You have Splenda, NutraSweet, Sweet and Low. Of course, you have all the sugar sugar alcohols that you can use. But again, those are great laxatives. Be very careful with those. So those are all different sweeteners you can use, but many of them might be very sweetened, like heightened sweet, so you might be super sensitive to.
It didn't bother me before, it now does.
Yeah, exactly. So you got some sensitivity to it. That is one of the side effects that many do have that too, sensitivity to sweets.
Is,
you know.
is that going to be,
For a while.
I mean, I was the ultimate sweet person.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's gonna be that way probably for 6
It's
to 9
just the
months.
strangest thing that just a little taste of like Crystal Light right now is like, oh, you know.
It's chocolate.
It's very, very bizarre. My head can't wrap around it.
The next one says budget calories throughout the day. In addition to that, budget carbs. That's probably the most important one in addition to calories. So budget your carbs. If you're allowing yourself to have 100 carbs a day, budget that out to the best of your ability. Because remember, you don't want to go hungry. So if you're going to have a breakfast and a lunch, make sure that you incorporate some of your carbs in that so that you can still have some when you go to your event. And then the next one, and no, it's not always possible, but if you know that you did have a few extra fun indulgences at the party, if you already have an exercise routine, maybe you could bump it up a little bit. And there's different ways you can do that. One is you can increase intensity of what you're currently doing without adding extra time, because a lot of times our times are pretty crazy. Or if you have if you have the ability to add extra time, you can go ahead and do that as well. So, but don't do both. Then you will burn out. Either increase intensity or increase duration, one or the other. I wouldn't do both at the same time because it could be a little overwhelming. But that's one way that you can counter some of your extra intake if you do find that you have more than what you expected to do. I think the other thing, a lot of what these recommendations are trying to help you do is eliminate guilt. Because what happens when we feel guilty when we're eating something? What do we typically do if we felt guilty about something? We finish it, right? Well, I did this, I might as well just go ahead and finish it. So what you want to do is set yourself up in a situation where you're eliminating the guilt from eating. That you are giving yourself permission to enjoy the event you're going to, but having a plan in place so that if you do overindulge, you'll be able to work through that with either exercise, taking foods that you know were going to help you maintain your goals, making sure that you were somewhat in control of what was going on so you didn't feel out of control. Is that a good way to say it? Because I think sometimes we walk in somewhere, we don't know what's going to be there. We don't know what the stress is going to be as far as what we're allowed to eat. And I think that's what I hear from patients more frequently than anything, is they didn't know what to do. I've had phone calls, and I no lie about this, I've had phone calls around the holidays, usually 5 or 6 o'clock at night, from a patient who's heading in there crying because they're going to a party and they don't know what to do. What's going to be there? What am I allowed to eat? What do I do if they don't have something I can eat? So that's what I don't want to have happen. I want everybody comfortable that you have planned ahead and that you're going to be able to enjoy the event that's going on and not have the guilt and have the enjoyment. All right? Just because you had surgery doesn't mean you can't enjoy a party and you can't enjoy the holidays. The other part of this is make sure you reward yourself. Now, again, how you reward yourself is your choice. If you want to buy yourself a special gift, something that you've been wanting to save up for, and you saved up for it, now you're going to go out and give yourself a Christmas present or Hanukkah present, whatever you celebrate. Go do something like that. Maybe one of the patients one year said, if I go to these parties and I do really well and I don't gain any weight, I'm going to join a gym. She saved her money to put that money towards a gym. So that's what the reward was to be able to go to a gym, which I thought was a really good reward. One was after the holiday, she maintained her weight, so she took a trip, just a weekend trip. It was like she was so proud of herself that she didn't gain weight, because I think success through the holidays is weight maintenance. Because what would happen prior to our surgery? What happened during the holidays? What happened to our weight? Did we usually gain? Right? So think about that. If our holidays were usually weight gain, and we maintain, isn't that success? Yeah, maybe not having this huge, weight on our shoulders and say, I have to lose 10 pounds over the month of November and December. Maybe if we just say even 5 pounds or maybe weight maintenance, that's pretty good. And you find where you are in your program, obviously. And the most, you know me, I'm the eternal optimist, aren't I? What do I tell you guys all the time? Stay positive. Right? Y'all have these looks on your face right now like, oh, how am I going to do all this? Right? I mean, doesn't positive kind of come out with a positive end? Do you all agree with that? No, maybe? You guys are way too quiet today.
I'm always the big mouth, that's why I'm staying quiet. I'm to the point where I'm not worried about this holiday season because I still can't eat very much. It's after this year.
After this year.
Yeah. So I always make the mistake of just having so much food on my plate. I was so full I couldn't eat dessert afterwards, which was my favorite. So that's not going to happen this year. But what I think I'm going to do on that, going back for seconds, I think I'm going to have to pace myself. And while the rest of my family sits down and has one big plate of food, I'll have to have a little bit. And then if I want a little bit more, I'm not going to be able to eat anymore for about an hour. So I'm going to be stretching it out. Not a great amount, you know. Because unfortunately, my family usually starts with appetizers, which is stupid when you have such a big like Thanksgiving meal too.
A bit of vision.
And yeah, and then you know we don't have just one dessert. Even if there's only 6 of us, we'll have how many 6? You know.
Yeah.
So anyway, but this year I won't physically be able to eat like I used to because I'm just not there yet. It's after this year.
Do you know, like, I'm glad you kind of said that because that's going to bring something to mind too. There have been many occasions where, you know, what is your perception of food now in portions?
It's like when I go to a restaurant, I take home so much of it. There's enough for 2 more meals afterwards.
Right.
So it's like, holy smokes, I could eat all that in one sitting before.
Right. What is, let's phrase it a different way. Have you changed your perception of how you view others that eat these large portions? And I'm saying that cautiously. Have you changed that perception?
Yeah, because I used to do it.
You know,
So I can't
right.
condemn anybody else.
One of the things that I find actually more common than not, patients will come in and say, I'm so overwhelmed when I watch these people eat this at the table, I want to say something to them. Our perception changes, and sometimes that can overwhelm our thoughts when we're sitting at a table and we see somebody that goes and takes this big plate of food, because our perception of what a portion is and what a bite is. And I, you know, example of that, my son can eat a sandwich in 3 bites. You know, I'm like, you know, I have to watch what I say to him.
Another thing is we all eat too fast in my
See, that's the
we
other
all
thing.
come
Yeah.
talk about it, but like we can get done in 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Huge,
And you know, and oftentimes they want to be able to say something. You know, I want to tell them to slow down. So they find that sometimes is a new challenge to them.
Well,
If they see somebody.
my mom used to get on me about, you know, you really want that second portion. She hasn't in more recent years, but you know, I've always struggled with my weight. So I would never do that to somebody else because I resented
Well, yeah, I think a lot of times.
comment, you know.
But I think a lot of times now what you're probably experiencing is often the family members say, why aren't you eating? You need to eat more. You're not eating enough. That is often one of the comments that comes up too. But now because they see you eating a lot less, you may come into that now too. So, but you've told a lot of people. So
Yeah,
you've been,
I tell everything
Yeah, you've been
because
very
I
open.
don't want to backslide. I
Yeah.
want them to.
you've been very.
I'm a very. I tell perfect strangers because I've lost 125 pounds on the road.
Yeah, you've done great. You've done great. So, yeah, I think what you want to take away from this is that 1 is you want to enjoy the holidays. 2, you're not going to be perfect. None of us are. There's things you can do that will help minimize the chance of having any significant weight gain, that can take away some of the stress about what you're going to eat because you have some control over it. It's not completely out of your control. Secondly, you want to make sure that you do try to maintain as much of your normalcy as possible. If you got a routine of exercise, do your best to kind of keep that exercise if you can. I think that's really important. Keep yourself well hydrated. I think that's another thing, that if we go all day and we don't get our, we get out of our routine about not drinking our fluids, it's very easy to feel run down. A lot of times when we're not feeling good, we tend to want to turn to food. So you want to make sure all these things that can be triggers through a very stressful time of the year when we're really busy and we're really crazy and we're around all these challenges, everything we can do to kind of keep ourselves in a normalcy, if there is such a thing, I don't know if there is such a thing, but to the best of our ability, I think. And sometimes walking away for a minute, that should really be on you too. How many times do you just need to walk away for a minute, to step away, go into the bathroom, or go into your bedroom, or just get away from the event? It feels kind of overwhelming. Just to take a deep breath. I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. Now, the one thing that's not on here, and we're really outside of a little bit about the sugary drinks, but alcohol. Getting to the holidays with alcohol. Obviously, many of us are going to probably have some drink, whether it's a mixed drink or a glass of wine or maybe a beer, depending on where you are in the program. Is it okay to do that?
Each individual person.
Right.
I guess one, I mean, you just don't want to overindulge like anything else.
Right, exactly. And remember, you're not eating and drinking at the same time, so you have to really be careful, because what happens if you try to drink the same time as you eat? You may run into some problems.
I guess I won't be drinking at all because I get quite lightheaded if I'm not eating while I'm drinking. And I mean, I can very easily be ready to go to sleep on 2 glasses of wine.
Well, you won't even make it to 2
No, I know I won't.
Yeah, I would just say you want to, definitely pace yourself, and definitely give your keys to somebody else. Make sure you're not the one driving, because you will be a cheap date, and you want to make sure you keep yourself safe. That's really important. Remember, it absorbs pretty quickly after service. You want to make sure that you keep yourself safe. But I think, be realistic with your goals on that too. If you're not quite 3 to 6 months out yet, you really shouldn't have any alcohol anyways. You're not quite there for that. So what other things can we address? Have I left anything out that you think will be beneficial? If you have any questions about what might come up? Anything that you can think of?
I guess I was hoping we were going to see some more recipes.
That's what Erin's doing. Erin's doing next month, holiday recipes.
I'm not going to be here.
No. Well, we'll post the recipes. We'll have them available online, or we can have them up front.
I
They'll
did
be
just
available.
see one on Facebook in my newsfeed from a friend, and I'm going to try it. And it was chopped spinach with like Parmesan cheese, or not spinach, broccoli with Parmesan cheese. And I don't think there were breadcrumbs or anything like that in it. Yet you made it into patties and you baked it. You didn't fry it, and it was crispy, and it sounded really good for like an hors d'oeuvre or
Well,
something.
yeah, Erin's going to do some holiday recipes, and I think she's going to do some demos too, so if I'm not mistaken. So that'll be a great one to come to as well.
What day is that going to be on?
It's I don't have the November date in front of me, but I can get it for you before you leave. It's usually the last Wednesday, which is going to be Thanksgiving. It's the third one, okay. Yeah, because the Thanksgiving's the week before that, yeah. So it's a little bit closer. But yeah, so we're doing that. And like I said, December, we're probably not gonna, it just depends, because everybody's so busy. I mean, patients are just.
No, I get it.
Yeah. The other thing that I would strongly encourage you to do before the holidays get here, and I think you guys know I'm pretty big on this, go home in a quiet setting and write down the goals of why you wanted to lose weight and why you did lose weight. Put down your current goals that you have for yourself. And what was the importance of it? Give yourself acknowledgement for what you've accomplished, and then put down what you still want to accomplish. Because if those are fresh in your mind prior to all these events that are coming up over the next couple months, again, that's going to help keep you focused and help set you up for success long term. And even if you're not sure that they're going to be truly the most realistic, you got to start with something, right? And like I said, I think be realistic with the weight loss part of it, so that you don't set yourself up for failure on that. I think that's really important. And if the holidays start and you had to go along there and you're like, well, this isn't working, feel free to go back and modify it. Say, not realistic. I think goals are meant to be, on a routine basis looked at. Give yourself credit for what you did accomplish, and then what you still have not, and then what you feel needs to be changed and modified. Some have a timeline and some don't. But I think it's also really motivating when you can, go back and acknowledge what you have accomplished. I think that's really important. That kind of leads into that handout I gave you, kind of like what weight have you lost?
Yeah, I'm
That
looking
is
here.
fun.
That's so funny.
That is really fun because we don't. One of the analogies I always use that if you lose weight, let's say somebody comes in and they've lost 50 pounds, and they're like, "That's not enough. It's not enough." I tell them to go to a grocery store and pick up a 50-pound bag of dog food and don't put it down the entire time you shop. Can you do it? That's the weight you took off your knees. That's the weight you took off your body. And think about how heavy you were breathing when you were carrying that 50-pound bag. Give yourself credit for that. But some of these items on here are hysterical. I'm down there with the 200 to 235. That I lost Arnold Schwarzenegger. Isn't that hysterical? Yeah, I love that. Some of those are really funny. So, Krista, what was yours?
Randomly as an average American.
Well, there you go. See? What about you?
I'm half between the amount of trash you throw away in a month and a newborn giraffe. But I'm single, I know I don't throw out that amount of trash. But I'm just about to the newborn giraffe.
Okay. What about
Elephant's heart.
an elephant's heart? Well, there you go. I mean, isn't it weird how you put that in perspective? That is so great. I just think it was, Aaron found that today. And we were all kind of chuckling in the office today. I thought, I bet the patient would get a lot of fun with that. So. Any other comments or questions? Anybody else? Pearl, do you have anything that you can add to the holiday recommendations?
I guess we covered pretty much most of the things. I think just to be prepared.
Be prepared.
Yeah. And that's the key. Make sure that you're prepared for the parties.
I wanted to ask about the chicken meatball recipe, because at first I thought this said marsala is in wine, but it says masala, and I'm not familiar with that. And how spicy is it? Because
It's not spicy. It's just we have some.
oh, good.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
good.
And it's not spicy. It's just mix of different spices which are not really. It just gives you more flavor than spice.
Okay, because unfortunately, I had to watch very spicy food pre-surgery, and my GERD reflux is even worse post-surgery, so I'm gonna really watch
You
it.
tried it. What did you think?
Oh, it's very good.
Okay.
It wasn't
I mean,
bad
it
at all.
smells delicious, but if it's super spicy.
It's not
It's
super
not.
spicy.
It's not spicy.
No.
And do you find that seasoning at the grocery store in a packet that says curry masala seasoning?
Yes. If you go to any Asian stores, you'll find a
And
lot
but
of
do you think
options.
it's-
But if you go to regular stores like Kroger,
Yeah.
you would.
You find it, okay.
She caters. So we're relying on her to bring a lot of recipes.
Oh, you're a caterer too?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I just found that out today. Apparently everybody knows but me.
Oh,
So-
come on. I can tell you that.
I was so excited to hear that.
But specializing in Indian food?
Pretty much everything. Not only Indian, actually.
Everything.
Yeah, I told her Dr. Curry, one of his favorite foods is Indian food. So I said for his birthday, don't you tell him this, Sam.
How apropos,
For
right?
his birthday, we're gonna have him some type of Indian meal.
You also operate a restaurant.
No, I used to.
Why do you ever eat Indian food at your house?
So we're kind of, I was excited to hear that. She got a lot of talent.
And since you're a dietitian, do you specialize in low-cal catering?
I think that.
But not all the time.
Not all the time. Depends what people want to
Okay,
order.
that's
So
so interesting.
I would have my twist on there. So try to make it as local as
everybody's on, pediatric programs like that. So, right, any other suggestions, any other questions? I'm sure Erin's gonna have some wonderful recipes that she'll be sharing. Some pretty good holiday tips that can be out there. So we're excited about that. And then coming into the new year, always looking for new support group topics. We brought in a few this year. We got the personal trainer in here this year. I think we're still trying to do some type of belly dancing class. We couldn't find a belly dancer. Yeah, we had one year. It was a great hit. It was a lot of fun. So you got to come in and do it. Yeah.
On your support groups, do you ever just go around with the patients and share?
We do a general discussion, we call it, and we do, that's usually one of the first ones we do in the year. We kind of start the year off.
Because
Everybody talk about their, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I've just found that, I was with Mercy for a long time before I
Right.
got kicked out, and not through any fault of myself, and because I've been with them so long, they
Right.
still let me go there.
Well, good.
And it was so helpful, and
Good.
they have huge turnout too. I think, well, it's on a
Yeah.
Saturday morning for one.
Right.
I think part of it is because the sharing is so helpful.
We do that at the beginning of the year, you know. Dr. Curry likes to have diversity. And like I
Well,
said,
I think that's good too, but,
we have, over the years, we've had them as high as, to 40 people. When we bring in Dr. Martin and those kind of things, that we get usually about 35, 40 people. When we do more of the closer to the end of the year, like I said, we get smaller groups because of the busy schedules. But in the summer, we get a lot more, usually, I think a really comfortable group is between 15 and 20, which is really nice because we can become, conversation can go well. It's not too big. And a lot of times we can do a question and answer and people can share their stories. We do that, so it just varies throughout the year and which ones you come to, kind of determine the number of people that are going to come. Not everybody has the same, we have such a diverse group of patients too. We have people in 27 states. So typically when this is, streamed live, which is not tonight, but it's going to be posted on the website, that we can have 40 people sign on the website. So they don't do that at all support groups, which is one of the reasons we don't get the high turnout here typically, but they're going to sign in online. And they have the opportunity to ask questions and type in questions, and then one of the things that we'll be improving upon is that the dietitian can have the computer in front of her, and then we can answer the question that comes through the website. So they're watching as we talk.
So tonight's session is
It's not, we taped it, it'll be put on the website. But we don't videotape you guys, but protect your privacy.
You plan on starting to stream?
We have been up to this point. There was a, Dr. Curry was serving all day, so he didn't have time to put the stream live and connect now. That's why we're taping it and then we'll go live. But yeah, that is, so it has some wonderful potential. It's the first year we've done this, which has reduced the amount that come, but we get a lot online. So that's exciting because now what we've done is we reached out to other states that we now, like I said, I think we're in 27 states.
27 people from 27 states have come here, or other facilities that are doing
No, they've done surgery with Dr. Curry, Dr. Pitt, and they live out of state, so they come back and see us, but now what they can do is attend support groups by going online. So it was our attempt to reach out to them.
That's really neat.
Yeah, so it's a different type of setting, but I think I think when you get more than 25 in a small group like this, it becomes a little bit in an hour's time. I think it might be a little bit overwhelming to do all questions answered. Whereas we do a general discussion to allow everybody to tell their stories, and you've been to a lot of them. Yeah. So, but we do that. We do carry them. Yeah. And we used to make, the support groups used to be mandatory for us. They used to have to attend 3 support groups before surgery. That's no longer mandatory. I know some places in town still require that, which is why you get a larger turnout as well. But I'm really pleased to see what's happening online here. I think that's going to be that's one thing that we, the patients, would always say, are you going to videotape this student? Because we got patients in Columbus. So this is a wonderful way to reach out to them. Dr. Curry's son, Sam, and his cousin, Colin, they're great to come in and do this for us. They're our IT guys. They talk a lot. Any other questions, you guys? No? You guys are a quiet group. I appreciate you coming out. All right, and listen, take some snacks with you. Those are actually meat and cheese roll-ups with scallions, and then there's also the meatballs that she made, that recipe. So please, take some with you. Oh, it's delicious. Feel-free food. Thanks, guys.